that was started in Zimbabwe and hosted by ZIMTA, which is facing a serious crisis today. We must never ever turn our backs on those teachers. In January 1993, in Stockholm, Education International was inaugurated as a global union with the slogan, Teachers United, Ready for Change. Since 1993, we have held World Congresses in every continent: Africa, North America, Asia, Latin America. And now we return to Europe to complete that cycle. But unity is never easy. Unity, as we know, is hard, or it is hard work. In 1989, there were 4 international teacher organizations. Today, we have completed a process of unification to produce the largest global union with the membership of 30 million. All of this in little over a decade. Developments in education sector have been reflected in the international labor movement. We have a new architecture for the international trade union movement, with the founding of the International Trade Union Confederation in Vienna, with an incredible 168 million members. EI's unity process was a significant factor in unifying the global labor movement. Like as indicated here by Anita, as from January, we have the Council of the Global Unions, with the EI General Secretary as the first chair. But this is an instrument for coordination and mobilization. So today, trade unionists are united as never before, and they are ready for change. It should not come as a surprise, therefore, that the Education International's former Vice President Sharon Barrow was elected the first president of the ITUC. They elected a teacher to lead the massive organization. I don't think that was an accident. Many will remember a time when the teachers were viewed as marginal to the broader labor movement. That is no longer the case. In my own country, in South Africa, the president of the Teachers Union has been the president of the National Labour Federation, the Congress of South African Unions, for several years. Teachers hold position of leadership in many countries in their labor centers. This trend reflects the unique aspects of education and the teacher unionism. It reflects the centrality of education in the modern societies and economies. It reflects the sheer size and the scope of the sector, with some 60 million teachers worldwide. The fact that we are everywhere. You will find a teacher in every village, in every town, in every district. The leading role we often play as teachers in our local communities, and this is particularly the case in developing countries, where teachers are called upon to use their skills in the broader life of community. Education and teachers have occupied a central place in the political and ideological struggle in response to corporate globalization and in resistance to the neoliberal economic policies. The quest for free and equal public education is central to the broader political, social and economic struggle which we are waging country by country for social justice, for human rights and equality. Who would have believed 20 years ago that 4 teacher international organizations would unite as one? Who would have dared to believe that the Cold War would end and apartheid would crumble? It happened, and we have overcome. But as we congratulate ourselves on what has been achieved thus far, we must never lose sight of the many challenges we still face. In relation to the issue of unity, we face 2 main challenges. How do we become truly global? As EI, we need to help build strong, independent education union wherever they do not exist. We are clearly underrepresented in the Arab world and in Asia, particularly China. The challenge is to engage with educators in those countries to better understand their situation, to share our experiences, and to move towards the greater cooperation and mutual support. This is important for another reason. At our last Congress, we flagged the growing division in the world as a danger to peace. And when peace gives way to war, it is the most vulnerable who suffer most. This is the situation in Iraq today, where we hear reports of children with special needs abandoned in horrific conditions as the infrastructure of that country crumbles. What then can we do as educators and as trade unionists? As educators, we need to build into our curriculum and our practice an understanding and an appreciation of differences. As EI, as trade unionists, we still have a long way to go building a truly international movement. We need to engage with the educators and their unions in every country to build trust and understanding, to share experiences, to debate differences, and to develop mutual cooperation and solidarity. We are all educators. We are all workers, regardless of any difference in color or creed. We face common challenges. Where teacher unions do not exist, EI must offer assistance in establishing them. Where unions are weak, we must work cooperatively to strengthen them. Where unions are under attack from governments or vested interest, we must be willing to provide concrete solidarity and support. I must mention the plight of the teachers in countries where human rights and labor rights are not respected. What is happening in Colombia, East Timor, in Zimbabwe, in Ethiopia, and many more other countries. In supporting and developing trade unionism, it is crucial that the rank and file membership is well informed so that they can make the right policy decision. In Africa and in Asia, only a handful of unions have a regular union publication that reaches all the members. I call upon the cooperating partners to assist these unions in developing countries, in setting up union publications, in providing training in communication, so that we have a voice to counter the commercial media. The second task is uniting the affiliates. It needs to be said that with all the strides that have been made in forging unity at international level, divisions continue at national level and even multiply in some instances. There may be very clear historic reasons for this: ideology, politics, religion, ethnicity, and divisions between sectors. Although often it is the result of the egos and personalities. But this does nothing to help. This does nothing to help our egos and personalities as leaders, does nothing to help our members. There are very practical reasons for uniting. No government or employer can negotiate with a multitude of unions around the table, and vice versa. A plethora of unions will have no impact whatsoever, since government can easily play us off against one another. Secondly, we need to unite for reasons of economy of scale. It is impossible to run so many national and regional offices and have paid officials and finance the union infrastructure. We should spend our scarce resources in a better way. In the coming period, we have to work to overcome these internal divisions by actively working towards one single education sector union in each country. This requires a proactive stand by Education International. We have shown that it can work in Liberia. We have seen it in the past in Tanzania and Uganda. These examples are still too rare. We must actively promote and drive towards unity in the education sector and set aside resources to make that possible. Comrades, education, we have said, is a human right. We need to defend. We need to defend it in the face of the threats to privatize and to subsume education under the international trade agreements. Education is public investment and is the well-being of all our societies and must be adequately funded.